I want to start with saying that confidence is something that can be practiced. So, if for some reason you think that confidence is something that certain people just have and that you're never going to be one of those people, just know that it's not true. Now, there are a lot of things that can make a person feel confident. Standing up straight with your shoulders back, having a good eyebrow day, winning a game of chess, going to the gym 4 times a week. And since it's so broad, I'd like to focus more on the internal type of confidence rather than the external in this video. Now, I was a confident kid. There was nothing that I couldn't do, I thought to myself, and I wanted to try everything and become everything. I was pretty fearless. But then again, I don't know, perhaps that's pretty normal with kids, thinking that you're invincible and all. And also, I was 100% convinced that I was Hermione Granger, so I guess that played a part in it. Now, I've definitely had my ups and downs since then, with the ups being high and the downs being very low at times. There are still periods of time where I feel more confident than other times, and I'm okay with that. I don't strive to be super confident at all times in every situation during any circumstance, if that's even possible. Like most things, I just want to feel balanced. And in order to get there, it's been valuable for me to understand when it is that I feel confident and why I might feel more confident during certain times compared to others. What are the contributing factors? So I've spent quite a bit of time reflecting on that, and I'm pretty confident that I'm onto something here. So these are just my thoughts based on my experience, and I thought I would share. Now, there are essentially 4 steps, I guess you could call it, that I've identified. The first step is honesty. Now, when you search the internet for how to become confident, several articles point at self-pep talk. Things like tell yourself that you are really good and your brain will believe it. And that probably works for some people, but it doesn't really work for me. What does make me feel more confident, however, is being honest with myself. Looking at the whole picture and taking inventory. So essentially evaluating both my weaknesses and my strengths. Like, if I'm not great at chess, I'm not going to tell myself that I'm great at chess before a game. It doesn't make sense to me personally. Instead, I will tell myself as it is. I might say, I've practiced, I've become better, I've learned some new strategies, and I'm still a bit slow and the other person is really good, but there's a good chance that I can win this. Whatever the situation might be. This is just an example. And now the second point, and this may be the most important one, is putting in the work. It was Tony Schwartz who wrote that the best way to build confidence in a given area is to invest energy in it and work hard at it. And one thing I've learned for sure is that confidence isn't produced by sitting around and thinking to myself that I am and I can. I need to actually be and do. For example, if I feel uncomfortable in social settings, sitting at home all day, replaying the topics that I'm planning on bringing up next time I'm at a party doesn't boost my confidence. It might temporarily make me feel more prepared, but that'll only get me so far. What is going to generate that confidence is actually exposing myself to those situations again and again and again, and to do my best. I think one of the worst things that you can do is to half-ass something and then let the result of that affect how you view yourself and your abilities. Like, if I put minimal effort into writing an article and it doesn't get the response that I had wanted, I can't really evaluate my competence in a fair way because I haven't utilized it, so I can't make a fair judgment. If, on the other hand, I put my all into it and it's still not perceived the way that I had wanted, then at least I can accurately evaluate my flaws and work on those. Which brings me to my next point, and that is finding comfort in discomfort. Each time that you put yourself out there, each time that you try something new, you're taking a risk, and that's nothing profound. You know, we all know that there is no growth in your comfort zone, so you just gotta take your pick. You either risk it for the biscuit, or you stay and you turn into a bag of hay. I don't know. Because here's the thing. If you're not okay with the possibility of embarrassing yourself, if you're not okay with the possibility of failing, and if you're not okay with the possibility of someone not liking you, you will never take a chance. And then there is no way for you to get better at anything. And if you're not getting better at anything, you're most likely not going to be very confident. And now the final point is about acceptance. Now, acceptance does not mean settling. It does not mean setting the bar low or giving up. It just means that you see the situation for what it is, which is really important, because if you don't see the situation for what it is, you're not really making any room for change or improvement. You know, for example, it's easy to go on a job interview, not get the job, and tell yourself that the interviewer was bitter and rude and that they're the one missing out. You know, essentially putting the entire blame on them. And all of that might be true. It's likely not the whole truth, you know, and in not taking an honest look on the situation, you're not allowing yourself to learn anything from that experience, which is a total waste if you ask me. Now, acceptance is just as much about taking responsibility for your actions as it is giving yourself credit when it's due. And, you know, I struggle quite a bit with the giving myself credit part, but I'm working on that. You know, I try to celebrate little wins and let myself know when I've done a good job. And yeah, definitely don't forget that part. You know, even if you just cooked yourself a good meal, make sure you give yourself a pat on the shoulder. You know, it might not seem like a big deal, but it is. Now, like I said, this is a very broad topic, and I could probably talk about this for hours on end. You know, I'm pretty passionate about this because I've seen so much wasted potential with people who just haven't had the confidence to live out the way that they could have. But I will be uploading a more in-depth post on this topic on my Patreon. You can check that out if you would like. The support that I get there is greatly appreciated, and it truly helps me out a lot. And I will be leaving a link for that in the description box if you're interested. Now, please share any tips that you might have on confidence. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the comment section.